Hello, Jason Rice with another Lot Party quick tip going live here. I am going to also try to make sure this is muted out, but I want to check out on the Facebook portion just to see if anybody pops in here. What's up, Jim? How you doing? Thanks for popping on. And all right, so over there now, I'm looking at it over the last week, 10 days. We had a lot of dealerships, sales volume huge, and they still are good, meaning they're still selling 50, 60, 70% of their inventory in the last 2 weeks. Meaning, our goal usually for a dealership is to sell 50% of their current carry rate over the last 2 weeks. Meaning, if you got 100 in stock, we want you to sell 50 in 2 week period. Okay, that means you're selling 50% of your current inventory level. That means you have 100 in stock, you're selling 50% of it in 2 weeks. That should put you on pace for selling 100% of it, or 100 of them, in a month. So a lot of stores are still pushing that, getting 50, 60, 70. I had a dealer at 118% in a 2 week period. So don't get me wrong here. Yes, we're still seeing some decent numbers. A lot of dealers are trying to get my phone. It's vibrating. A lot of dealers are still seeing decent numbers and volume comparably to carry levels. So that is still happening. But one of the things that we're noticing is the 2 week sale rates are lowering, over. And I was on the used car manager group. Somebody did a comment about dealers paying $2 to $3 grand over retail for trucks, and I gave some screenshots of multiple markets: Arizona, Illinois, Washington. I mean, these were different markets where dealers we're starting to see a little bit less volume each day. These are daily stats that we're looking at, and some of them over the last week or two have seen drop-offs. So, and the reason why I bring this up, some of it has to do with what's going on, Mike? I see James. I see Craig. Anybody comment on here too? Like and share it if you're on Facebook Live, because I think it'll help. I think my projection has always been the big volume that every dealership has seen in May was a spring season hangover from our February. It's about mid-February to mid-April. It's about a two month window there that sales are usually pretty good at most lots and most markets, and a lot of dealers didn't have that window of time to sell those cars. So I think that what we've seen in May and a little bit of what we'll see in the beginning of June is that hangover from those sales. Those are traditional. I've done a Facebook Live where I actually showed shopper counts over the last 5 years in that activity. I think the volume that everybody has seen has been that hangover. And so a lot of dealers are out buying to that level still, and which is fine because it still might be there. But I would just say, I'd give you warning. My prediction would be mid-June, definitely by beginning of July. I think we're going to wonder who shut the faucet off, because typically May and June becomes lighter months because of our February, March, April sales. By May and June, it starts lightening up. And a lot of times dealers in April and May keep buying the volumes that they were seeing in March. So in traditional years, March was a strong month. Beginning of May is strong. Guys are still at the lane buying stuff, paying up for it because, man, this market's being strong, and they're willing to pay up for it to keep their inventory levels good because April starts out strong. And then by May and June, they're stuck holding a bag of 68 cars that they overpaid for because they were hoping that March push was still active. So this year, everything's off a month or two. And so I think that's what's happening right now in May and June. People at the lane trying to buy cars and trying to keep up with this volume. And I think come July and August, we're going to be holding bags of that have a bunch of age cars that we overpaid for because of what was happening in May and June, at the beginning of June. So my thoughts are mid-June, going in July. It's always been that we're going to see things slowing down. And I think, again, we're just starting to hit that And it depends on how your market has phased in reopening the economy. Okay, so some dealers just in the last 3 or 4 weeks have been able to kind of get business as usual, or at least some kind of retail sales that was pent up demand, and they're still booming right now. But the dealers that pretty much have been open and haven't been affected much in those markets, we're starting to see things starting to slow down. So I'm wanting to give you a heads up. Start watching your 2-week sale rates, start watching your weekly sale rates and seeing if they're dropping. And a lot of these dealers, their inventory level's the same. So it's not like they got less cars, so their volume's dropping. We look at that. We look at your percentage sold. Again, back to what I said at the beginning of this video, your 2-week sale rate. Thanks, Chris Little. I hear you. I see you there in the comment on Facebook. So we're starting to see it in certain markets. I shared a bunch of screenshots. If you need me to do the same thing, I could do it here. We're starting to see that retail drop off, and I think we're going to continue to see it drop off going into mid and into June, and definitely by July. I think we start seeing it. Because here's the other thing. July, August, usually sales pick up in the summertime. Those summer sale months, we see shopper counts usually tick up. But what's happening then, and most times, is the fact that OEMs and manufacturers are doing their summer sales events, summer clearance on new cars. And they do their summer sales events and leasing opportunities. And so it stirs up a lot of business in July, August, and maybe August, September, depending on some markets, that summer sales events are happening. And so that trickles over to used cars too, and we usually have good summer sales months. But guess what? A lot of manufacturers are out of cars, are going to be out of cars. So I don't think there's going to be a big new car clearance events happening in summer sales events happening in July and August, or August and September, because the inventory level is just not there. And that might be the one caveat that helps used cars, is if that new car buyer is going to switch to used or not. But as we know, a lot of new car buyers are new car buyers and don't want to buy a used car. So you're going to have that problem. If the OEMs push some money into CPO, I understand Toyota started doing that and a couple of manufacturers started doing that. I was hoping, I posted something in the beginning of April that would be the best route for these OEMs. If that start happening, then things could go good on used cars there. But still seeing a lot of pictures of the lanes being full, still seeing it's just going to take one of these big companies, a Hertz, a Ford, or somebody to start unloading cars. And then it's kind of like the stock market. As guys start dropping things, everybody else is going to try to start sell off while they can get their money. I still, again, speculation, I still anticipate maybe a 10 to 15% drop in wholesale once that all happens. And again, that might be July, when we see that into July, going into August, if things they just announced the recession the other day, and if things started softening up here. Plus, it's an election year. It's always a little bit tougher year. So hope this is helpful. If you need free inventory evaluation, go to lotpop.com. I'm going to have soon. I've been sitting on it. I owe somebody some. I got 1,000 of these things sitting here. I'm going to pass out these first 30 wristbands. I'll do a post. I'll have a place on our website to fill out and see how many you want. So keep an eye out for that. If you want a free inventory evaluation, lotpop.com, YouTube, all these videos and podcasts, these things end up on podcasts. So again, free inventory evaluation, lotpop.com. Hope this was helpful.